Hello Pythonians. Today in this lecture we are going to learn about conditions and operators. How we define conditions in Python. A condition in Python is a question that we ask to Python, and in return Python will tell us whether the answer of this question is yes or no in form of Boolean value, which is true or false. So if the answer for the question that we have asked to Python is yes, then it will return us true. If the answer of the question that we have asked to Python is no, then it will return us false. So how do we ask Python this question? Let's suppose we have declared two variables over here. X is equal to 3 and y is equal to 9. Let's ask Python whether x is less than y. We can see yes, it is less than y. So Python will return us true value for this. Now this was one example, but to ask Python different kinds of questions, we need different operators. These operators are called comparison operators. So let's see them one by one. If we want to ask Python whether x is equal to y, to ask that we use this equal to sign. So if we ask this to Python, Python will certainly return us false value because x is 3 and y is 9. Then if we want to ask Python whether x is not equal to y, Python will return us true value because yes, x is not equal to y. Similarly, as we have seen above, we can also ask Python whether x is greater than y or x is less than y. Accordingly, Python will give us an answer. We can also ask Python whether x is greater than equal to y or x is less than equal to y. In all these comparison operators, Python compares the value of two variables that we provide. Now let's move to more interesting topic called identity operators. Many people don't know the exact difference between these two operators, which is equal to and is or is not operator, which are identity operators. So to understand difference between these two operators, we need to understand how the value is stored at particular memory location in Python. So for example, when I print id of x, what it will give us? The memory location of the value assigned to variable x. I repeat, it will give us a memory location of value which is assigned to variable x. So what value we have assigned to variable x? We have assigned 3 as a value to variable x. So it will return us the memory location of 3. So 3 is stored at this particular memory location. Print the memory location of the value which is assigned to variable y. So this is a memory location of value 9 because 9 is assigned to y. Now let's take another example. Let's say A is a dictionary in which I have mentioned key as my name and its value as Sagar. Now in this case, A is pointing to a particular memory location where this dictionary is stored. Now let's say B is equal to A. That means B is also pointing at the same memory location where this dictionary is saved. So to prove my point, let's print the memory location of A and B together. Here you can see A has the value, this dictionary, and its memory location is this. And B also has the same value assigned to it and its memory location is also the same. Now let's perform this copy operation that we have learned in previous lecture of dictionary operations. So C is equal to A dot copy. Now what this operation will do that to assign a copy of this particular dictionary on different memory location. So what this statement is saying to us that C is pointing to the copy of value of variable A. I repeat, C is pointing at the copy of value of variable A. Now to prove my point, let's print the memory location of C let's print the ID of C. We can see here that the ID of C is different than the ID of A and B, because even if the value is same, this particular dictionary is saved at a different memory location and then it is assigned to variable C. So what's the relation of all these things to our equal to operator and identity operators? To understand this, let's see, if we do A equal to B, it will return us true value. And then if we say if A equal to C, it will also return us a true value, because the equal to operator compares between the values of A and C. But if we say if A is C, it will return us a false. And let's see, if we do A is B, it will return us true. Now why is that? Because each operator checks whether the memory location of both the values is same or not. So in this case, it returns us value true. But if we say A is C, it will return us false, because as you can see, even though they have the same value, but their memory locations are different. And like this, there is also is not operator, which is inverse of is operator. So if we say if A is not B, it will return us false. And if we say if A is not C, it will return us true. So I hope you have understood the major difference between equal to operator and identity operator, which is or is not. Now let's move to our next operator list, which is logical operators. These logical operators are basically used for the combination of two conditions. Now let's go one by one with the logical operators. The first one is AND operator. To understand this, let's print the values of x and y once again. Value of x is 3 and the value of y is 9. So in this case, let's check if x is less than y, and also with it check if x is greater than 1. So in this situation, if both the conditions returning true value, then the entire statement will return us a true value. If any of these conditions become false, then this entire statement will return us a false value, like we have done over here. So if x is greater than y, no, it is not. So this condition is false. And if x is greater than 1, yes, this condition is true. But since the first condition is false, the entire statement will return us a false value, because both of these conditions should be true in case of AND operator. Now let's move to OR operator. In this operator, if any of these two conditions is true, it is enough for OR operator to return us a true value. So for example, if we say if x is greater than y, no, it is not, because x is 3 and y is 9. And we say if x is greater than 1, yes, it is. So first condition is false, but the second condition is true. So let's run this code. And then you can see, because one of the statement is true and other one is false, it will still return us a true value. It is considering only one condition should be true. And if both the conditions are false, then it will say false. Like here, if x is greater than y, no, it is not. And this is second condition, which is saying if x is less than 1, no, it is not. So in both the conditions, we are returning false value. That's why the entire statement will return us a false. Now let's move to our next logical operator, which is NOT operator. This is very interesting operator. Let's print the values of x and y again. What this NOT operator does is to inverse the result of any condition. That means if we say x equal to 1, the answer for this is of course false. But since we have joined NOT operator before it, it will return us a result true. That means not operator will inverse the result of any condition. So to understand this in another way, not operator will change the boolean value it gets and return the opposite boolean value to it. So for example, if we assign s is equal to false and say return us not s. Now what is not s? Which is true. In similar situation, if we assign value true to s and say return us which is not s, that means false. So that's how not operator works. Now this was it for this lecture. I hope you guys understand what are conditions and their operators in Python. I will see you in the next lecture. Thank you.